So recap, we talked about 3 recurring elements for conversion. We talked about some of the main reasons why people are attracted to Christianity, and including turning away from Islam. And I want to share 2 verses with you from the Bible that I find particularly insightful for ministry to Muslims. These kind of inform, and I think they should inform, our philosophy. So I'm going to have 2 people read. 1 John 4:18. Who has a Bible? Okay, right there. And then 2 Timothy 1:7. Okay, right there. So 1 John 4:18 is our first verse. Go ahead.
There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not been perfect in love.
Good, so there is no fear in love. I give these talks all over the place, and a lot of people are kind of like freaked out. They're like, look at the demographics and the migration patterns, and they're like, so you're saying that like Europe is becoming more and more Islamic? And I'm like, yes. And like, how are you not terrified by this? I'm not afraid because there is no fear in love. Okay? I'm not afraid of the future. It's a challenge, but it's a challenge that we are able to, I don't want to say embrace, but it is a challenge that we are able to address. It's a great verse. We have this treasure in earthen vessels to show that this power is from God and not from man. Does anyone know the reference to that? Yes? Okay, fantastic. She knows the verse and she can, are you knitting? What is that called? Crocheting?
Friendship bracelet.
Okay, friendship bracelet. At the same time, look, handicrafts and Bible. That's pretty impressive. So, so like, what's the idea? That we have this power, we have this ability. Okay, maybe the people in the world look at us and they're like, well, this is just kind of like, mid, not very interesting, powerful, intellectual, important, influential people. But this is the kind of people that God chooses, right? Jesus didn't go and choose the intelligentsia of his day. He chooses fishermen and, day workers and a tax collector and a zealot, so a freedom fighter, a guerrilla, we call them today. But he chooses regular people. Okay, so the point is, in spite of what seems like pretty dire news about the future of Europe and the future of North America, we do have the ability to do this. Fear has no place in love. Okay, so that's the verse from 1 John. And now let's go to 2 Timothy 1:7. Go ahead.
For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline.
Good. So the Spirit that God gives us does not make us timid, but gives us what?
Makes us...
I know a different translation. For he has not given us a spirit of fear or timidity, but of power, love, and a sound mind or self-control. So again, there's that idea that we have the power. We have the ability. God has placed us here for this time to address a growing Muslim population. So that's just a little bit in terms of some Bible verses that I think should inform and influence the way that we address the challenge in front of us. And it's a big challenge. It really is a big challenge. As I've said before, this is clearly, on a historical level, the greatest challenge that the Christian church worldwide has ever faced. So let me give you a little bit in terms of the growth of Islam in selected countries in the West. And this is from the year 2000 through 2025. If you want this table, send me an email. Or if you do this, but on X, if any of you have the unfortunate life decision of being on X, formerly Twitter, I posted this information on my account today. But if you want it, just go ahead and send me an email, because I have it all on a table. But I'm going to tell it to you right now. So this is a Muslim population, how much it has changed from 2000 through 2025, so over 25 years, quarter century. And then what I did is, instead of saying it's changed by this percentage, I got the year-over-year change. How much is the Muslim population in a given country growing every year? So the USA went from 2 million to 5.3 million in 25 years. That means the Muslim population is growing at almost 3.9% per year. This is very fast. Canada wins. It went from 0.63 million to 2.23 million. That means the Muslim population of Canada is growing faster than anywhere else in North America or Europe. 5.2% per year. 5.2% per year. Germany is growing at 1.8% per year, but that's because in 2000 they already started with a large Muslim population, mostly from Turkey. Sweden went from 0.3 million to 0.86 million. That doesn't sound like a lot, but of course Sweden and then Norway are not countries that have large populations to begin with. So the Muslim population in Sweden is going up by 4.3% per year. Norway going up 4.6% per year. The UK has gone from 2 million to 4.9 million. Well over double. 3.6% per year. France, which already had a large Muslim population, has gone up by 3.6% per year. France will be the first Western European country to get to 10% Muslim. Once you get, this is sociology, this is not theology or religion. Sociologically speaking, once you get to 10% Muslim, that means that the Muslims will form a political party, and even if it's not the main political party, it will be kind of a kingmaker. It can be part of that coalition that you need, and then you really start getting into actually having Sharia in European law. And then Spain, where I live, it went from 0.65 to 1.65, so the Muslim population has gone up by 3.82% per year. All of these countries are below TFR. This is demographics, the study of populations and people movements. What is TFR? Total fertility rate. And so they're below replacement TFR. In any given society, for you to have a steady population, the average woman during her lifetime has to have how many children? 2.1, okay? That 0.1 is just because sometimes people die early and stuff like that, infertility, stuff like that. So the average woman has to have 2.1. Does anyone know the TFR of Sweden or Germany or France or, yeah?
I mean, I just looked up by region and I think it's 1.2 at the moment, and by region, like the highest score is around like one of the states, like one of the parts in the north, which is a like highly Catholic evangelical center. Then it's like 1.9, but this is like a really like they are like really partially fundamentalist families with like 10 children per family, so it's obviously right there.
Yeah. So most of these countries, all of the countries in Western Europe have a total fertility rate far below replacement. Far below replacement. Muslims, in general, have a much higher TFR than do secular people. Do you know who actually has replacement TFR? It's conservative Christians. Whether they're Catholic or Protestant or Orthodox, it actually doesn't really matter what kind of denomination they come from. But practicing religious Christians tend to have way more children than do secular people or nominal Christians who, if they have to check a box, they'll say they're Christian, but they are not living up to, they're not attending church on a regular basis. They don't have any kind of faith life outside of kind of a sociological realm. Religious Jews, religious people in general always have a higher fertility rate than secular people. So what does this say about the future? Well, clearly this is pointing to more and more immigration from the Muslim world, and these growth percentages, especially something like over 4% in Sweden and Norway, over 5% in Canada. I mean, these are real. These should be alarming to us. These are not gradual, slow shifts in population. These are strong, large shifts in population. So that's just a bit of the demographic. That's the demographic picture of what is happening.